A very big edition of Rocky Top Review on Mix 1041 and MixTV.tv. I'm Steve Hartline, and it's all presented by CHI Memorial. Well, it may not be Spurrier and Fulmer, but the excitement, anticipation for the Vols to welcome their old friends from down at the Swamp is as high as it was in the 1990s. A lot's on the line when these two teams kick off a head-to-head meeting of the two top 25 ranked teams as number 11 Tennessee will host number 20 Florida in college football's premier game of the week. Tennessee comes in at a perfect 3-0 with a win over a ranked Pittsburgh team. Florida 2-1 following that home loss to the ranked Kentucky Wildcats. A win today inside the cathedral of college football would give Tennessee fans their long-awaited heart's desire. Simply put, a top 10 team with a chance to play for an SEC East title. Today, college football pageantry will be at its finest as Tennessee and Florida square off. And with that, it's week 4, and what a week it is of Rocky Top Review, of course. Stephen Shelton, Pastor Jason Cox, and the man who needs a pastor is Josh Rogers, Commissioner Rogers. Shelton, my goodness, what a week.
Well, here we go. I mean, this is, 10 years, a decade has went by since we've had what I would call a meaningful game in Knoxville, and this is it. And just happens to be Florida coming to town, and I don't think you can get a more excited fan base. I know Coach Heupel this week said a lot about what it meant to play Akron and have the largest non-SEC crowd in Neyland Stadium since Oklahoma. And so that place was packed. Wow. And so this week it'll be more than packed. They've sold 103,000 tickets for a 101,000-seat stadium. So everybody squeeze in and hold on. But this is I hate to say this in week 4, but and I think Jason Cox will echo this. This is a must-win for the Tennessee football program.
Jason?
I was a student at UT in 1998 when we beat Florida in overtime. And we carried the goalpost out of that stadium that night and threw them into the Tennessee River.
Wow.
This rivalry is unlike anything we have been a part of as Tennessee fans. I mean, we love Alabama, we love the Georgia games, but this Florida game, there's some real hatred there. And, it's a huge week. It's exciting. It's fun, and I can't wait to watch it.
Josh Rogers.
Who wrote your opening? The Cathedral, what is this, Fenway?
Well,
Neyland Stadium is the cathedral of college football. You name a place that's,
you can tell.
Listen, name a place that's better than Neyland Stadium on Saturday.
Here we go.
You've lost your mind. You ever been there? Been to Ann Arbor?
Yeah.
Okay, it's terrible.
Okay.
Tuscaloosa? Really?
Sanford?
Stephen
Sanford
wrote that.
Oh, my gosh. Let's all bust in.
And a chance to win an SEC East title with Georgia and Kentucky ahead. But no, it is a must-win this week for Florida. Or for Tennessee.
Okay. That's the Lord just getting you back from those previous comments.
I was going to say.
Yeah, keep
It's
going.
a must-win for both teams
Keep
this
going.
week to be able to keep the game on the road. I mean, honestly, it really is. Florida is in their first year under Billy Napier. I mean, this is kind of where they are at a breaking point up and down. Whether they lost to Kentucky on a last kind of minute interception. I mean, they played well that entire game offensively. Steve Hartline has more touchdown passes this year than Florida does, right? So, I mean, the big thing is for Florida is how do they get on the ball early? How do they play in Knoxville? We've talked about it for the past few weeks, and I've really harped on it as a secondary for Tennessee. How do they come and play against a Florida team that hasn't really scored one touchdown pass all year long? But we're looking forward to it. Big week this week. College Game Day's in town. Barstool Sports, their college football show is in town.
You're the only one that knows that.
It is the biggest week. This is the biggest event in college football this year.
Well, just quickly, for people that don't understand, they're like, well, it's Tennessee's 11th, Florida's 20th. Listen, let's go back to the 90s. And I know you can go back, let's go back 20 years. Fine. 1995, Florida came to Tennessee. Florida was 4th. Tennessee was 8th, ranked, that is. 96, Florida was 4. Tennessee was 2. 97, Florida was 1. Tennessee was 4. 98, Florida was 2. Tennessee was 6. 99, Florida was 4. Tennessee was 2 at the time they played. This game literally in the 90s was for the SEC championship. One of these two teams were going to go play for the SEC championship every year, and it just to get a glimpse of what that used to be. And I know it's not number 4 against its number 2, but again, to have 2 top 25 teams coming in and have everything that's going on, like Josh said, with everyone in the nation now looking at Knoxville. This does so much for a recruiting base. This does so much for the fan base. This does so much more for Coach Heupel. But they've got to win this game.
And we're going to talk a lot more about that. Shelton and I just had a previous meeting of this as we taped this on Thursday, and I think someone told us that they're already beginning to get their sleeping bags ready for game day, college game day, that sort of thing, which as you hear this and watch this, aired earlier this morning. Let's go back. Shelton, I want to begin with you. Talk about the Akron game. You just alluded to that.
Yeah, I mean, Akron, I thought Tennessee played very well in all 3 phases. Offensively, Hendon Hooker was 14 of 18 for 298, averaged 16.6 yards per pass. I thought Jalen Wright, Jalen Wright really ran the ball well. 23 carries, 96 yards. That's 4.2. Had a couple breaks that he got outside there, but I thought that the offensive line did a good job of creating some holes. Now, Akron's not great. Let's not blow this out of the water, but they're still doing the little things. In years past, we didn't beat teams like Akron 63-6.
Yeah, and I think there's a difference there. I mean, we've struggled with some teams, even just beating them by 3 touchdowns in the past. I think that tells a story. I mean, you might not take too much away, but if you're blowing these teams away, that's a good sign. I want to just mention Joe Milton. That throw he made from the 40-yard line where he literally just flipped his wrist. I mean, no arm action at all. I mean, that kid has so much talent. Will he ever put it together? I don't know. That was my highlight of that game.
Hit him on stride.
Yes. I mean, I was running around the room screaming about that. So I don't know what you take away from that, but we did what we needed to do. Akron they were dirty. I'm going to say it. They played dirty. They went after knees. Cedric Tillman's probably out of the game this week because of that. A couple of our running backs went out. Jabari Small went out. So, that they were going after knees and ankles. And
health-wise, every running back has practiced every day this week. So the running back room is full. Wide receiver-wise, if we go back 2 weeks when Josh Rogers talked about the depth of the receivers at Tennessee, that could become really big, Josh, today as Tillman may not play.
Yeah, it is. I mean, the big thing for Tennessee is that as fast as this offense goes, and earlier this week we got to speak with Bob Kessling and kind of asked him, does Tennessee change their way of playing offense? And he said, absolutely not. You stick with what got you here and you continue to go. But around the country, that has been a big point of discussion this week is will Tennessee try to hold on to the ball more, slow their offensive down so that powerful Florida offense that is very good and very quick, just like Tennessee, that they can't have the ball as much as they do. And so for the big thing is with the wide receiver room is you've got to have depth. These guys are going in and out so quickly and so fast, and you will have one gentleman out. Callaway, he'll be out for the first half, so that's going to hurt them as well. But I agree with you. I think there was a gentleman on this show last week that said if Tennessee didn't win by like 60 and didn't keep them to under a touchdown for the game, that it would be a loss for Tennessee.
Jamie Kyle?
No, it was Josh Rogers. And
gentleman's a stretch, but
I didn't know who you're talking about.
And that's what happened. And watching that game, Tennessee actually, these games like the Akrons, the Ball States, the UABs, the cupcake games, these should be blowouts. Mm-hmm. And in the years past, Tennessee hasn't done that. And so now Tennessee, you start to see them getting back into the hang of things with Heupel, and I'm telling you what, Tennessee is one of the most fun teams offensively to watch in the nation right now.
Biggest takeaway from last week: 35 yards rushing. We held Akron to 35 yards rushing, the lowest amount in 17 years for Tennessee.
All right, that's a good stopping point for this opening segment. When we come back, we're going to be start having these guys pick some games, and I'm also going to ask, I was out last week, and they bring in Jamie Kyle, and I'm still scrubbing this chair from when Shelton was sitting in it, so that's a whole other thing, but I did.
I'm sorry.
I did.
I'm sorry you had to raise it back up.
Oh, yeah!
Hey, no short jokes, please.
Sounds like
Let's not do that.
the Community First Awards we did last Tuesday night. Yeah. People taking shots at me. All right. Hey, we'll come right back with more. It is Rocky Top Review. A huge week it is, presented by CHI Memorial. Welcome back, everybody. Rocky Top Review Week 4 on Mix 104.1 and MixTV.tv. Kickoff Florida UT at 3:30 today on our stations, presented by TVFCU. Well, let's begin our picking segment now. It's going to be a big ACC battle. Clemson at Wake Forest. They meet up in the ACC opener for both clubs at Truist Field later today, or actually started earlier. Both are a perfect 3-0 coming in the game. Wake's happy to see quarterback Sam Hartman back in the fold, missing the opener with medical conditions, but been in the starting role the last 2 weeks. This time, let's begin with Right Reverend Cox.
Well, Wake Forest is doing a great job. They're tough, but I think DJ Uiagalelei he's growing up a little bit in Clemson. He's done the Dr. Pepper commercials. He's made some money that way, but he's starting to play like a big-time quarterback that we thought he was. He's thrown for 5 touchdowns on the season, only 1 interception, which was his trouble last year. I think Clemson wins this one in a close one.
Josh, what about it?
Yeah, so Clemson since 2015, they're 31-4 in true road games, and last year, the unranked Clemson, they went and played the number 10 Wake Forest at home. They won 31-17, and really that kind of was in the entire second half of that game. The key to this game is going to be Clemson's ability to hold on the ball, force defensive turnovers, and really just kind of stop Wake Forest's run. And so for me, it's going to be a close game. I think that it's closer than what people are thinking, but I'm going to go with Clemson.
I love numbers, and this game is full of numbers. And
yeah.
Clemson's averaging 41.3 a game. Wake Forest is averaging 42. Total yards per game, Clemson 425, Clemson 434. Defensively, Clemson giving up 314.7 yards per game. Wake Forest is giving up 314.7 yards per game.
Oh, man.
I just think that this game could be so exciting in the first half, but I just think Clemson's that much better when it comes down to it. Give me the Tigers.
All right, there we go. Texas will be at Texas Tech. That is also a 3:30 game, like the UT game, on ESPN, and it'll be at Jones AT&T Stadium in Lubbock. A pair of old in-state rivals going to get together, Texas and Texas Tech. They'll open up the Big 12 and their Big 12 play in college football's Week 4 action. Both teams 2-1 on the year. Texas, that 1-point loss to Alabama, while Texas Tech defeated that ranked Houston team before falling to North Carolina State last week. Commissioner Rogers.
Yeah, I mean, this is the first road game this year for Texas. Texas is going to go in and face a full capacity crowd down in Lubbock. Right now, the Red Raiders, they are tied nationally in 6 with 9 passing plays for more than 30 yards. So offensively, they have explosiveness all across the board. On the ground, Texas Tech has really been struggling despite having 2 really solid running backs. While this probably is going to be a very hostile crowd for the Texas Longhorns. Right now, Texas is like a 6.5-point favorite for this game. But this game being played at Texas A&M is kind of where I am kind of stuck. If it was a night game, I would probably go Texas Tech. But because it's a 3:30 kick, I'm going to go with Texas.
John?
Texas Tech was my road dogs last week. I had them beating North Carolina State. They did not, fell 27-14. But I'm not giving up. Texas Tech is one of the most hostile environments to play in the Big 12. Give me the Red Raiders for 2 weeks in a row, and if I jinx them, I won't pick them again.
How about it, Reverend?
Well, Lubbock's a tough place to play, be it football, basketball, golf. It doesn't matter. It's a tough place to play. I don't know if Quinn Ewers is playing quarterback for Texas this week. He was out last week. I think that matters, but I love Bijan Robinson, the running back for Texas. He's big, bruising running back, an old-school Texas running back. Give me the Longhorns and Bijan Robinson.
Let's jump to the Pac-12. It'll be a late-night game Eastern time at 9:30 in Corvallis, Oregon. One of the great college football atmospheres in all of the nation. As USC and Oregon State will meet up, both perfect records through 3 games in college football's Week 4 action later today. And you got to love Commissioner Austin Chadwick, who's got the beautiful logos there on MixTV.tv. And I hope you guys told him thank you for the orange on the website. Come on now. Southern Cal owns a win in Pac-12 play. Already, they defeated Stanford, the Cardinals, we remember, but Oregon State opens its conference slate by hosting the Trojans. Shelton, we'll start with you.
I said I think South Carolina is the most overhyped team in the nation. I think USC is the most overranked team in the nation.
Yeah.
Only second behind Tennessee. I think Tennessee's probably a 15 to 20 team right now in the nation, not at 11. I think USC goes to Oregon and gets beat. I think the Beavers take down the Trojans.
I would not be a bit surprised by that. Let's go to Jason. Over to you.
Well, I love what Caleb Williams is doing in his new home in Southern Cal. Jordan Addison in his new home coming from Pittsburgh in Southern Cal. Jordan Addison's going to be an All-American wide receiver. I just think that offense is going to be too much for Oregon State. I know it's at Corvallis, but I still like the Trojans in this one.
What say you, Kamish?
Don't forget, Oregon State beat USC last year in the Coliseum for their first win there in over 60 years. Oregon State, Chance Nolan was nominated last week as Pac-12 Offensive Player of the Week. They are unbelievable. I mean, Oregon State is starting to really play good football. But also, Southern Cal ranked 7th, 3-0. They are 1 win away, if they win this week, of tying their record last year. And so they, Lincoln Riley has really kind of brought this team back. I mean, for the past few years, they have just been no one. I mean, it's kind of like Tennessee was in the 90s, USC was in the early 2000s. These teams are kind of coming back to prominence, but it being a late game in Corvallis, give me the Beavers.
All right, now we jump to a big one here. Arkansas is number 10 in the country at number 23, Texas A&M. They'll play tonight, 7 o'clock, ESPN, at Arkansas alum Jerry Jones, AT&T Stadium in Arlington, Texas. And after improving to 3-0 with that 38-27 comeback victory against the Missouri State Bears, the number 10 Arkansas Razorbacks will head to AT&T in Arlington and take on the number 23 Texas A&M Aggies in the Southwest Classic. It'll be the 79th meeting between the two programs. The Razorbacks own that record of 42-33-3, that all-time series with the Aggies, and snapped a 9-game losing streak against Texas A&M last season. A&M suffered that 17-14 loss at home, we all remember, to Appalachian State in Week 2. Bounced back last week, got the big win over Miami, 17-9. And we're going to begin with, who we begin with? Jason Cox, go to you.
I'm going to take Arkansas on this one. I love what Sam Pittman's doing. I know they didn't play well last week. I know that A&M is a really, really tough place to go and win. But I love KJ Jefferson under center. I like what he reminds me a whole lot of our guy in Knoxville, Hendon Hooker. So give me the Hogs in this one.
Wow.
How about it, Rogers?
Wow. Yeah, Texas A&M. I mean, defensively, they have it at every single level. Inside the front line, linebackers, and into the secondary as well. But if any group of offensive linemen can take on that Texas A&M defense, it's going to be the Hogs. I mean, they are some big boys down there. Wow. And for me, Arkansas is 9-0 when winning the turnover battle under Pittman. Okay.
All right.
I think Texas A&M turns the ball over a little bit too much.
Okay.
And the winner of this game will establish themselves as the clear number 2 in the West behind Alabama.
Wow. Great pick.
And I will never pick the money.
Great pick.
And I'm going with the beer drinking Hogs.
Man, good. Listen, KJ Jefferson, 55 of 78, 770 yards, 6 touchdowns, 1 interception. He's a good quarterback for Arkansas.
Yeah.
This sounds familiar.
Maybe he can play defense because Arkansas has the worst defense in the SEC, giving up 421 yards per game. They get blown out.
Oh, no.
Give me Texas A&M by 17.
Texas A&M doesn't have a quarterback.
Give me Texas A&M by 17.
You do know that Arkansas has the number 7th ranked run defense.
Who your quarterback is when you cannot tackle.
7th ranked run defense in the nation. You do know that, right?
Tackle.
I feel like Whoopi Goldberg on the View.
If it's a run defense, they're obviously tackling them at the line.
I'll buy you both lunch next week. tackle.
So you're taking A&M.
I'm taking A&M.
Okay.
To win this game, you got to tackle.
It's on lunch.
Defense wins lunch.
It's on lunch.
All
All
right.
right, there it is.
Better bring your lunch pail.
Oh, okay. Well, we're going to take a break. When we come back, a full pick and analysis of the big game in the nation. And right here, Florida and Tennessee. When we come back, Rocky Top Review, Mix 1041, MixTV.tv. Welcome back to a final segment of Rocky Top Review presented by CHI Memorial. Well, here we go. It's a kickoff of 3:30 today. Number 20, Florida, at number 11, Tennessee. Of course, if you want to be listening to the game, Mix 1041, Talk 1013, The Buzz, you can stream worldwide on the Mix 1041 app. Free download, mymix1041.com. If you're watching, you can listen to UT coverage at the same time. I'm going to begin this time with Josh Rogers, Florida and UT.
Look, outside of really one massively bad throw by Florida against Kentucky, the Gators really aren't offensively not hurting themselves. They're really not helping themselves either by not scoring any passing touchdowns or throwing any touchdowns. But the thing is that is going to be one of the big keys of this game is how does Florida go up against this shaky secondary that Tennessee has. The other key to this game is going to be penalties, right? Tennessee doesn't really turn the ball over that much, but they lead. They are third in the SEC with 24 penalties so far in this year, and really those penalties really came in the Akron game, right? I mean, very undisciplined football throughout with some of the receivers, a lot of personal foul penalties that have happened so far. Offensively, Hendon Hooker has to be fantastic. He has to play the best game of his life. I've watched an interview earlier this week. They talked Hendon Hooker has the opportunity on a national stage to really elevate his ranking, not only in the Heisman run, not only for Tennessee, but also going further into the NFL down the road. But Hendon Hooker can't do it all on his own. And I think that Florida offense will come to Neyland and they will play the best game that they've played all year. Give me the Gators by a field goal.
Oh, no! You just broke their heart like a hobnail boot. Right, Reverend Jason?
Are we picking already? Is that what we're doing?
Did you see how red Jason's face got when he was talking? I mean,
Listen,
that was deep.
Well, give us some analysis.
Okay, all right. Here's what I think. I think Tennessee's defense has to keep Anthony Richardson in the pocket. Mm-hmm. If he gets happy and starts using those legs and breaks free, we're in trouble. He'll run for 200 yards against our defense. We've got to keep him in the pocket, make him throw the ball, make them lean on the run game, let our linebackers, defensive tackles play. I think that's key. Also, what are we going to do without Cedric? Okay, Cedric, this is his kind of game. He shows up big time in these big games. Just look at last year's stats against the Alabamas and the Georgias. He showed up. What are we going to do without him? Does Brew McCoy slide over there and he and Jalen Hyatt stay on the same side, or they push Jalen Hyatt outside and keep Brew on the other side? That's going to be a fascinating deal. Also, can our running backs get going? Our offensive line, they're pretty good pass blockers, but we haven't really been able to establish the run game throughout this season. If we're picking now, guys, I'm not buying it. We're like a 10-point favorite right now. I have seen this play out over the years. I remember back in the 90s. You talked about Peyton Manning in the 90s, okay? In 1995, we were up by 3 touchdowns right before the half. Okay, Danny Werfel throws a Hail Mary into the end zone, scores a touchdown. They don't look back. They win 62-37. We were the favorite. 2012, I'm on my way up there with Chris Green and Todd Linderman. They turn around and look at me and say, "What do you think's going to happen?" "Oh, I think we're going to win by 17 points today." Okay, final score: Florida 37, Tennessee 20. In 2017, I was in the swamp. We beat them every way but sideways, and then Tennessee fans will know what I'm talking about. 4th and 18 happened. They threw it over the top, and they beat us 26-20. Okay, and honestly, for the last few years, we've not even been competitive. So I'm taking Florida in this game.
Whoa!
'Cause I don't think we'll win.
Oh, my goodness. Wow. All right, Sheldon?
Did you know that Tennessee's lost 16 of 17 to the team from Gainesville? Tennessee's third in the SEC with penalties, with 24. Third worst. Tennessee's offense putting up 52 points per game. That's a lot of points. A lot of points. Florida's giving up 26 per game. Their defensive line couldn't get push on the local YMCA team or Holden's little league team.
Yeah, Holden, flag.
Florida's defense is the worst in the SEC on third down. Nobody. The fun and gun in Florida has turned to the fun and run because they can't throw a touchdown pass. Game day's there for the first time, which is the death knell for Tennessee, first time since 2016. Tennessee should win this game by more than 10, but they're not. The team from Gainesville comes in and breaks the hearts of the UT faithful once again.
Wow.
All three of you are going with Florida.
It's called battered Vols syndrome, Steve. That's what it's called.
I will
A
not.
guy told me that at the lunch where we were.
I will not believe until I see.
Okay. Well, apparently we have three doubting Thomases here on the broadcast. Well, I'm going with UT. UT
And
will.
that'll do it.
Yep. Well, Florida won.
I am. I'm going to say UT wins. All right, folks. Hey, we're about to join the Vol Network. It's a big, big day. Kickoff at 3:30. Get ready to go with a big orange countdown. Come on.